At the same time, completely for this reason, it was a good ground for the people who were not basically connected with the previous way of life. For young people, for people who, in the simple way, had nothing to lose at this moment of time. So that's a moment when entrepreneurial energy or ability to do something allow you to do what's impossible to do in other periods of time. And I'm very grateful that I was able to live through this period of time.
How did Putin change Russia?
It was a quite natural reaction on the situation of the 90s. 90s brought a lot of, let's say, chaos in Russia. Chaos, yeah, a lot of chaos in Russia. So many people suffer, it was pretty difficult. So society was crying for the stability. That was really what was needed. And it was a great achievement what Putin did. He brought stability to Russia.
Are you close to Putin?
I never met him one-on-one.
You've never met Putin one-on-one?
Never.
Oh, so you have absolutely no role in any of this?
In this?
Yeah, in the governance of Russia. I just can't get past the fact that you're a bystander with a Russian last name and the West stole billions of dollars worth of your assets. That's not kind of what we're told the system does. You don't seem mad about it.
How you can map on something what you cannot control? It's like to be mad on the rain. It will pass.
What do you think the effect on the United States has been of this war in Ukraine?
Effect?
Yes.
I mean, if you take sanction and economic part, actually, what I don't like when I hear from the certain politician when they say it's great for American economy. That's what I don't like.
Really?
Like when people say it's great for the jobs, it's great for the economy, it's great for something. Honestly, it's make me sick. Because to kill other people, if it's even great for your economy, it should not be great. You cannot be proud of this. That's what I think about this part of the input. So,
Disgusting.
from another side, I would say that I know more or less what will be the effect of the sanction. So I think it will be end of the many institutions which were traditional for a number of the years. Such institution like a dollar, like United States dollar, for example, some like a global currency. What we see already in this year, for example, foreign trade of the China, 50%, more than 50% of the foreign trade of China done not in dollars anymore. And it used to be about 90% just 12 years ago. So that is what's happening. In Russia, dollar was dominating currency for any outside export-import operation. Today it's what, 14%. It's more or less like this. And the same process is going in other countries. So that will be one major effect. Basically, I think dollar will lose its position like world dominating currency, much bigger, like a result of all of happening.
What will be the effect on the United States of losing the dollar as the international currency?
I think it's one of the 3 or 4 major assets which country has.
But what are the practical, as a former banker, what are the practical effects?
Practical effects? Yeah. So if less investors want a dollar, it means interest rates are higher, inflation is higher, it's more difficult to refinance debts, etc., etc. It means a lot of things. When you cannot emit world currency, it means completely different world where you're in.
This seems obvious as a non-banker. That was my first thought when these sanctions were imposed. This will scare people out of using the dollar because it's being used as a political weapon, not just a medium of exchange. It's not a safe haven anymore. If I could see that with no education or background at all in this area, why wasn't that obvious to U.S. policymakers?
Hard to say. Perhaps they're comparing pluses and minuses of such policies, they put balance on the pluses.
What would be the pluses from an American perspective?
Oh, that's hard for me to say. That's better to say from the American perspective. I have no idea.
Well, I am an American and I don't understand any of this. I don't understand why you would want to kill or depose Putin, which is, of course, the whole point. And you can like Putin or not. I don't have to live under Putin, so I don't have strong feelings either way. But why do you think taking Putin out as president of Russia became the number one objective of the U.S. government? It doesn't seem obvious that that would be your objective.
I think it's pretty straightforward. It was, you need to look history not so long, but at least for the 20 years back. So, in reality, cooperation between Russian government and Western governments deteriorated during last maybe 20 years. So that was a process. If you see how it developed with the increase of the NATO presence closer to the Russian borders. It was many other things which basically contributed to this deterioration of relations. And I would not say it was like from one side or from another side. It was a way, it was a number of the things which basically brought us where it's brought us. It's become more and more and more difficult during last 15 years. What is really, from my understanding, all of these events in the Ukraine are? It's just moving of the conflict in the next level escalation. That's what it is. So that was 2014. So what is the reality? It's events of 2022. It's a game. It's a movement of the story which was in the process maybe 15, 20 years of basically unresolved situation of security in Europe to the next level of escalation. So basically it's one process. Ukraine, from my understanding, it wasn't like issue by itself. It's a process of non-understanding, of not ability to communicate, to find the common solution between West, United States first of all, and Russia, which led step by step to the new levels of the escalation. That was a process. And what happened during this process, parties lost trust to each other. So Russian government, Russian leadership lost trust in the Western system, inability to find solutions with the Western leaders. Same happened from the Western side. So Western leaders lost trust, inability to make, to find understanding and to resolve complex issue with the Russian leadership. So that is what happened. So when it's happened, that's probably answering on your question why.
So it's just a kind of process of forward movement that will go on the principle of entropy forever until something stops. Like, it sounds like there is no motive. It's just organizations keep going until they don't.
Dynamic, it's not very good. So dynamic, it means that because basic issues, basic problems are not resolved or even not articulated sometimes, more and more different means of confrontation coming into the play. So, from my understanding, basically, what's happening in Ukraine, it was one more step towards this escalation. But then again, can be another step, and can be another step. So, unfortunately, we are moving towards this direction, for my opinion, right now.
Where are we right now, would you say?
I would say in a very dangerous moment, in the moment when, which perhaps we did not experience for last, I would say, from 84, something like this, for the last 40 years.
I mean, the U.S. government is now basically orchestrating a bombing campaign within Russia. And the United States is in a hot war with Russia. And this is because the president was just convicted, former President Trump. There's a lot going on in the U.S. I don't think that most Americans fully understand we're in a hot war with Russia. So, I mean, they're both nuclear-armed powers. What are the chances that this becomes a nuclear exchange?
Unfortunately, each conflict has its own dynamic. So for now, I don't see forces which is seriously working to de-escalation, because it's not defined yet what victory means. It's not defined yet what purpose of each conflicting party really is. In reality, it's described, but today these goals are not really discussed. Yeah, it's like one party moving one direction. What, for example, Ukrainian party saying? Ukrainian party of this conflict saying, okay, we want something like go back to the situation when everything was in 2004. Okay, so they want to do de-escalation 2 steps compared with today's situation. Step not 222, but step 2004. At the same time, what from the Russia perspective we are hearing when we are listening to news or whatever, Russia saying, no, we want something bigger. We wanted to do de-escalation even further. We wanted to come back to a situation when security arrangement in Europe done in a such way that Russia does not feel in danger from different sides.